Good morning, Malhar. Hello, Malhar.
Hello, sir. Give me two
Yeah,
minutes, sir.
Malhar. Nothing. No, participants are joining anyway. The speaker is also taking time, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Just let him join.
Hello, everyone. So we'll start the session in another 2 minutes.
All right, thanks, Malar. This is Amit.
Hi, Malar. Good morning. So, shall we start? The speaker is here.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Good morning and namaste, all the participants. Welcome to this session. And I welcome the team at Atal Incubation Center and team Artayan. Speaker of the day, Mr. Amit Sharma. Hi, Amit. And I welcome all the participants. Today, I am expecting a wonderful session from Amit Sharma. And I invite Malhar to give introduction of the speaker to the audience
Yes.
and carry the session, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Malhar.
Yeah. So,
Over to you.
participants, as you know, today's session is about marketing and brand growth. And who better to talk about it than Amit Sharma, who is the business head and managing partner at Open Strategy and Design, and has had a career path of 15 years, which has been a journey of playing roles that help building marketing strategy on the back of consumer intelligence. He started as a qualitative researcher in with IMRB before moving to Bharti Walmart, where he was a part of the team responsible for building the brand in India. Before joining Open, he was heading marketing at Edelweiss Tokyo Life Insurance. Amit has unflinching faith in the consumer's ability to discern and reward brands that are able to build empathy. So I was just going over with the course content with Amit right now, and it's really interesting what he has planned for you guys. So I think I would like to pass on the mic to Amit so that he can start off with this very critical session for a startup.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Malhar. Thank you, Shivakaran, for the lovely introduction. And hello, everyone. Great to be here. I'm really looking forward to interacting with all of you. And I think it's really interesting to talk about what is the role of marketing and branding in a startup's journey, because it is such a fundamental question that all of us kind of grapple with at all points in time. And to be able to kind of contribute to your thinking in any small manner is a big honor, right? So, like Malha was talking about, I work with Open Strategy and Design. We are based out of Mumbai, and we are a brand consulting firm with a focus on designing brands right from their inception, their identity, positioning, brand strategy, and then go-to-market journeys. Right, so that gives us a little bit of a good vantage point to kind of talk about this, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'll start with the session right off the bat. Can I share my screen? Do I have permission to share screen?
Yes, absolutely. You can.
Yeah, it's on. I can see. Right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Amit, we can.
All right. So hello from Open. That's our office in Mumbai, in Worli. And today this is what we are going to be talking about, which is let me just minimize the screen. What does it kind of what does marketing and brand growth for startup means? And I think one of the best place to before we kind of get into talking about how to use marketing for growth, right? Let's talk a little about what marketing is. So I just want to I want to have a little bit of an interaction with all of you in the beginning, and I just want to kind of get your point of view on what your thoughts are on what marketing is. Anybody, what do you think marketing is? Malar, what to your mind is marketing?
Trying to sell your company's products.
Yes. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone else? Any definition of what marketing is? Sorry.
It is showcase of your quality, your product, and your services that you offer
Right.
for their use, yes,
Right.
customers use.
Absolutely, absolutely. And over the years, we've heard about it's a showcase of your quality. It's there are some people who say that marketing is a way to differentiate your product, even when there is no differentiation. And some of those myths over time have also been busted. There is marketing is a means to kind of engage your audience and persuasively communicate with them. Actually, to my mind. Uh, this is the definition I love the most about marketing, that it's a means to transmit your idea powerfully, right? And what do I mean by that? Because what is it that if you really look at it, if you peel back the layers, if you kind of really dive deep into what marketing does and should do a great job of telling the people what your idea is in a compelling manner. And there are some, I came across this really interesting definition of marketing from the New York Times, a very unlikely source to talk about marketing, right? So they say marketing is the art of telling stories so enthralling that people lose track of their wallets. Or there was, there's this definition, she's speaking on marketing, and it's what about it? I love this because she's an American poet. She was an American poet, Maya Angelou, extremely well known for her sharp pointed thoughts on life, culture, people, and the world around her. And she said, I have learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. I think these two definitions, uh, the art of telling stories and the way you make people feel about your idea, to my mind, is what marketing is. So yes, it is about telling people, and there are several vectors to this, right? There could, you could be talking about you could be doing this by talking about how proprietary your technology is, or you could be doing this by talking about how you have spotted an opportunity which no one has seen, or if somebody has seen but nobody is serving them in a manner which is scaled. Or how about you are bringing a product to the market where there are 20 other products like it, but you have a different take on how that product should be made, how that product should be sold, how that product should be consumed, or why you are selling a product or a service or creating a brand in the market. What is the big reason to exist for it? Marketing is a means to deliver that, right? And if you look at these, if you look at some of these definitions, they start to kind of start painting a, a picture which is bigger than the sum of the parts that marketing employs. It is bigger than what marketing uses, it is bigger than the channels, it is bigger than the stuff that needs to happen, it is bigger than the tactics of marketing. Essentially, at the heart of it, and at the widest level, marketing is the idea of telling your story in a great manner, right? It is telling your stories. It is not so much about your product as much as it is about your idea. That's the belief I have about marketing. And I thought this was a great thing to kind of talk to you guys about as you are starting off on the journeys of your brands. Some of you, I was going through the list of where all the products and the brands that you and the businesses you guys are starting. Some of you are in the idea stage, some of you have created a viable product, some of you have maybe taken it to a market in a little bit, some of you have registered your companies and brand names, some of you are still in the process of doing that. So it's a great time to pull back a little, and apart from all the jargon and everything else that you read about, and the tactics and the listicles on Google which tell you 100 and ways 10 ways to effectively market, pull back and really think about what marketing is, right? And this is our reality today. The world we are in has turned marketing to be equal to the media it uses. So when we have conversations with clients, when we have conversations internally, when we have conversations with people, everybody is talking about online versus offline, digital versus TV, mass marketing versus custom marketing, specific targeting, niche audience, this channel, the ROI, the metrics, click-through rates. And that's where, the world we are in has trapped marketing. And I wanted to kind of talk about an alternate point of view to that today, because to my mind, that is perhaps one of the biggest things, and you can think about and spend time on as you embark on this journey, as to how to really look at marketing and how to really look at your idea in context, and how to look at marketing your idea in context of what that idea is, right? And so what if there was an alternate view? What if marketing, if today we don't talk about marketing, not in the context of the media, not in the context of ROI, ways of marketing, 120 tips to do great content, great digital, all of that is valid. All of that are the soldiers of marketing. But what is at the heart of marketing as a battle strategy? What if there was an alternate view to that, right? And that alternate view is, imagine your idea as its own media. you know all of you started your business on an idea. There has been some of you would have spotted an opportunity, some of you would have gone through an experience that has led to your thinking of it, hey, this is something that others will also feel, and maybe there is a business to be done here, because if I need this, or I've felt this, or I've experienced this, or I've gone through it, others would have, and then therefore there is a market for it, right? Often in the journey, and especially in the journeys of startups, and when we don't have when we don't have immediately the wherewithal to get scale in an inorganic manner, we get lost in the horde to kind of start looking at operationalizing the idea, and don't lose sight and track of the power of that idea. And as founders, and we work with founders a lot, across different kinds of stages. As founders, my biggest request and submission to you is, never lose sight of the power of your idea, and how that idea is a way to transmit what your beliefs are, what your energy is into it. And over the course of the next 1 hour, I will try and take you through some of these cases, how, and through stories of how others have done it, so that you can find parallels to it, and you can kind of start thinking about it from your own product and a brand point of view. But the big point here is, when we think of marketing, we need to think of it as a means to transmit that idea. That's its goal. But the more important bit is the idea itself, the power of that idea. When you would have started off, there would have been people you would have run this past with. Kaisa lag raha hai? You would have spoken to friends, you would have spoken to some early backers, you would have spoken to some people who would have given maybe 1 lakh, 20 lakh, 50,000. Ventures are supported, founders are supported at all points in time, right? And why did those people do it? Why did they support you? Yes, to an extent because you knew them and they were maybe friends and family, but also because I think they saw through your zeal, they saw through your belief, they saw through your energy, right? And that is the bit that they have supported. They have not supported an opportunity because that opportunity still hadn't been fleshed out, right? It was an idea in your mind. The belief in that idea, the evangelism of you around that idea was what they were supporting, and what they were backing, and what they were telling you to go ahead with, right? I have a and so therefore, if there were a principle to apply, that principle is, don't frame what your idea does. Do not frame your product or your brand or your service as what it does, but frame it in a manner that says what it enables, right? And what is the difference between the two, right? What the difference between the two is, when someone asks, what do you do? The difference is in your responding by saying, this is what I do as a business, versus telling someone that this is what my idea enables for the world, right? So and look at some of the world's biggest organizations, and these are brands we all know, right? Google's mission is very, very specific and very simple. They are talking about, and this is what they was, Sergey Brin did it right when they started it. Their mission was to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. This is what they started with, and this mission has led them to become almost $1 trillion company that is now the world's biggest, one of the world's biggest conglomerates, which does everything from search to communication to hosting conferences to emails to servers to space to getting into your homes, listening to your instructions. This this simple, very specific mission has led and enabled Google to become a company, a product, a brand, a service that is doing 100 things today in your life every day. It enabled this presentation when search for some of the references happened. It could have enabled the hosting of this presentation. It will enable sharing of thoughts and all of it, right? Look at the other organization, Airbnb, right? Airbnb was entering into a very large with a market with a vague idea, but what their mission was very purposeful and very specific. They said Airbnb is here to help create a world where you can belong anywhere and where people can live in a place instead of just traveling to it. This was a very, very different idea of travel and tourism. You went to a new city or a new country as with the mindset of a tourist, with the mindset of, I am traveling to this place and I am going to be a guest here, and I am going to live in this place for 24 hours or 4 weeks or 3 days. I could be going to another city, I could be going to another state, I could be going to another country, but that was the mindset with which people traveled. Airbnb changed that, and they said, we are here to help you belong to the place you're traveling to, even if that belonging is for as short as half a day or 24 hours or a weekend. But we want you to experience that place as a local does. We want you to live in it, because when you live in a place, the experience of that place is very different than when you visit that place as a guest, right? If you go to someone's home and you feel that you're living there versus you are an alien entity who's there for some time, the experience of that physical surrounding, the experience of your stay, the experience of meeting those and interacting and living with those people will be very different. And these companies have created the kind of success which is undeniable, right? Today, nobody can deny the kind of success Google has created and Airbnb has created, because they were very, very clear and they framed the idea of what they were doing and what this business enabled for the world very, very well. It is not about what Airbnb does. None of these mission statements talk about what Google will do, what the product does. They talk about what does it do for the world. What does Google do for the world? What does Airbnb do for the world? Nike says just do it. Now an athlete will respond to just do it. I will respond to just do it, and both of us will feel the spirit of athleticism within us. An athlete will feel it in a very, very different way. I will feel it in a very different way. But that is what the brand is enabling, right? That is what it means when I say that look at your idea and your business from the point of view what it enables for the world, and don't describe it in terms of what it does. There will be plenty of opportunity to tell people what it does, because ultimately it will come to that. But before you get busy with it, before you get before your mind gets completely surrounded by operationalizing your idea, it could be marketing, it could be finance, it could be logistics, hiring, accounting, compliance, governance, any track. Before you get busy with operationalizing it, make sure that in your mind you're never losing sight of what it does for the world and why did you start off in the journey in the first place. Uh, I was looking at Y Combinator. Y Combinator is the world's biggest entity that does early seed stage funding, right? They work with startups when they are just at the seed stage, when they haven't even had their Series A round of monies coming in, right? And they have created massive successes. They have created more than 150 successes which are widely acknowledged across the world. ClearTax from India, Dropbox, Reddit, Airbnb are all brands and companies that are alumni of Y Combinator School, the Y Combinator Institute of kind of creating brands. And what do they talk about it? We say we are hackers. And then this is a quote from the leadership of Y Combinator. And they are saying the most important thing we do is work with startups on their ideas, because we are hackers ourselves and we've spent a lot of time figuring out how to make things people want. So it is very easy for us to see what direction should a small idea be expanded into, or at which point to attack a very large but a vague idea. And they've done it for both kinds of things. Reddit was about a very very large idea of this community of people on the internet who would be talking about almost anything in the world, but that was a very specific mindset and a large mindset of people which Reddit was trying to galvanize, right? How do you kind of imagine this and say that this is what I want to, at what point should I be attacking them? That is what, working on the idea means, right? Or Airbnb, when it would have started off, they would have seen the landscape and they said, there are a million companies from mom and pop operations to big organizations like Cox and Kings who dominate the world and when it comes to travel and stay and tourism. We want to change this world, but how do we change it? Where do we begin to attack? And what shows them the path? What shows them the path is the way they look at their idea. The way they frame what their idea does for the world helps them show the path. And that is the importance that Y Combinator, which is one of the world's biggest organizations and the most successful organizations to have done this with so many brands, stresses on. They say that our most important work is to work with startups on their ideas, right? ClearTax, all of you must be familiar with ClearTax. ClearTax, specific problem. It was not a vague problem. It was a simple problem that millions of people in India file income tax returns. How do we help them? So it was a very specific problem, but it needed to be expanded and popularized and adopted by those millions. We have a small tax base anyways, for the brand to be successful, right? So it was a different sort of a problem. It was clear they had a very well defined target audience. They knew exactly what they were doing, but the idea needed work to make sure that it was scalable. Or Dropbox, right? Very specific, that people will need solutions to kind of store things online without really having access to physical storage. So with internet penetration going up, it was becoming more and more easy to, store it in the cloud, and not really depend on physical storage on USB drives or phones or laptops anymore. And today, people have regressed from 512 GB storage on phones to 64 GB and 32 GB of storage back to 4 after 15 years of evolution in phone technology and cell phone technology, right? Because something else has been enabled, right? How do you either, if your idea is trying to attack a problem which is big and vague, or it has the problem definition in your mind is very clear, the what you do is very clear, how do you frame it right for that opportunity can't be stressed anymore, right? And I want to show you a small clip. This is from a movie, and just listen to this, just see this clip and listen to what he's talking about. This guy is playing a real life character. This is Al Pacino, the actor in the movie Irishman. He is playing a real life character called Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa was a very, very controversial figure in the 70s and 80s America, maybe early 60s, who was a trade unionist. He was head of a very, very powerful trade union organization in the American Industrial Revolution at that point in time. And listen to how Jimmy Hoffa is talking about what is it that they do.
If you got it, a truck brought it. If you got your food, your clothing, your medicine, if you got fuel for your homes, fuel for your industries, a truck brought it to you. The day our trucks stop, America stops.
Were you able to listen to it? Should I play it again one more time? I'll just play it one more time. Was the audio clear?
Yes, yes. And the subtitles also helped.
Right. I'll just play it one more time.
If you got
Because it's a 30-second clip.
a truck brought it. If you got your food, your clothing, your medicine, if you got fuel for your homes, fuel for your industries, a truck brought it to you. The day our trucks stop, America stops.
Anybody, what do you think he's doing here? What do you think this speech is about?
Importance of his trucks.
Yeah. What else?
I feel he's kind of increasing the importance to an emotional level by, it is just logistics, but I think the way he's talking about it is really moving the people over there.
Right. Absolutely. You know what he's doing? He is reframing it. Because the context of this is they are gathered here and there is an impending strike to happen, and he's talking about why they have power on their sides, right? So he is telling them that, see, we run trucks which do transportation for food, grocery across the country, right? Now, one way to look at it is to say that we are a large group, but we are a group of truck drivers, and we don't have power against industry. We don't have power against the government because we are nothing. We are just simply truck drivers, or we are an organization that delivers. Which takes a courier's packet from one house, delivers it to the other house. We are someone who is just freeze drying and dehydrating spices and packing them in a nice manner and sending it across. We are very small to have any sort of a power, right? But he's reframing it to say why there is power in what we're doing. And this is true for in life, in marketing, in advertising, in finance, in management, in government, in bureaucracy. This is true everywhere. One has to reframe, one has to look at the right way on your idea, right? The right kind of frame to your idea is very important. And what is he saying? He's saying we are not truck drivers. We are the lifeblood of America. If we stop, America stops. Now you take this parallel and you put it to any industry, any service, any category of food delivery, grocery delivery, filing of tax, any service or product, people coming into your society, essential services, medical services, an FMCG brand of soap, atta, flour. You take it to any category. That category and that product and that service is essential to the running of lives. It is essential to either running of the life, it is essential to mental well-being, it is essential to someone's sense of having a good time. Restaurants are essential to our having a good time with our family on special days or on Sundays when we don't need to do cooking, right? A courier service is peace of mind, knowing that in these today's times when I can't go out and there's this courier service called VFast, right, which does hyper local delivery. So you can go online, you can book up a courier with them. Some guy with a ride who has a vehicle, either a scooter or a motorcycle, will come, take your courier and deliver it to a local address in Mumbai. This is an amazing service, because I can't go to speed post, I can't go to a normal courier because we are all quarantined, we are all locked down. But these guys will come, they will take it. And now that is, if I look at it as a courier service, it is my mistake, because what they are doing is making sure that my life is running and I am getting to do the important things that I need to do to run my life, right? If they were to look at themselves, ki we are nothing but people with motorcycles who pick packages from one place to the other, then they are looking at it in the wrong way, because they are not. They are enabling commerce to happen. They are enabling life to happen. They are enabling social interactions to happen, right? And that is very, very, very interesting. And that is what the first part of today we'll be spending in. I'll come to a couple of cases. Some of it are work, and some of it work that I've in other places, not work that we've done. I will tell you which is which. To talk about how this idea can be reframed, right? So what do we mean by this? It's called the frame of growth, right? How do you increase the value of what you're doing by framing it? A brand is not how it is, what it is, but it is how the world sees it. Correct? Absolutely. So the frame with which a stakeholder, it could be your investor, it could be your consumer, it could be your competition, views the brand, decides the value of the brand in that stakeholder's mind. The way they see your brand decides the value. Very important to remember. And growth for a brand, whether it is tangible or intangible growth, can be unlocked if you create the right frame. Jimmy Hoffa created the right frame for the world to see what they were doing. Google created the right frame. Nike has created the right frame. Airbnb has created the right frame. ClearTax has created the right frame. Nykaa has created the right frame. Delivery has created the right frame. Every company that you admire, Tatas have created the right frame. Birlas have created the right frame. Every company that you admire, every company that you have, you can say has commercially been successful, have done it by creating the right frame. And that frame exists at the intersection of your user. What is their perspective? What is the culture with which they are operating? It and at the intersection of the category gap. So you could be someone who spotted an opportunity in a category, right? Refrigerator spotted the opportunity of odor from one vegetable seeping into another food, and created technology which was used technology which was available to come up with a product that said no mixing of odors. So your custard will not smell like your aloo tomato ka sabzi, right? Great gap to be spotting, right? And how did it happen? Because they understood what their users' culture was. They understood how people operate. They understood what was the gap, and they created a product and a service around it. And then they put the right frame to it. They didn't talk about it in the terms of, hey, we have this great technology that deodorizes. They spoke about it. Don't let your custard smell like your curry sabzi. When you see it written like that, you see immense value in it. You see, yes, I don't want my custard to smell and taste like a curry vegetable I've eaten last night. Absolutely right. So that is the power of framing, right framing, and what it enables you to articulate these things very, very clearly. You can very, very clearly talk about what is the opportunity that we are trying to address. What business are we in? Who is the core audience? What is the proposition of my brand? And what are the core pillars that this proposition is going to be built on? Is it going to be built on quality? Is it going to be built on integrity? Is it going to be built on craftsmanship? Is it going to be built on technology? Is it going to be built on empathy? Is it going to be built on stature? Is it going to be built on desire? Any of these are are pillars on which your opportunity and your brand can be built on. But you need to know right at the beginning, right at this stage, before you even start employing the tools of marketing, what is it that really you are doing, and you need to describe it in terms that the world can see the value in it for themselves, not for what it means to you, but what it means for the people you are trying to address, right? And I want to take you through very quickly a small case. There was this company called Ashay Industries we worked on almost 5-6 years ago. They were they were a 3D printing business which had been acquired by a jewelry company, and they were operating as a back-end 3D printer batch processing shop for them. So they were their their narrative and their idea about themselves was that we are a tech vendor. We do 3D printing, batch processing. We take orders to print this. And they were dependent on the jewelry industry quite a lot because that's the firm that had acquired them. And their whole vocabulary was, we are about speed, we are about accuracy, there is price, we will keep your designs confidential, experience, expertise. And they were trapped because they were trapped because they were being looked at as a tech vendor whose conversations were happening with purchase managers. So there was no way to go up in value in any of their business or transactions. There was no way where they were not having conversations with CEOs of the companies they were working for. They were having conversations with the purchase managers and the commercial managers of the companies they were working for because of the way they had looked at themselves. So when we looked at this, and this was a time, you must now, 3D printing is very well known now. This was a time 7 years ago that 3D printing had started becoming big in India, and we got the opportunity to work on this brand because of the group company that we were working with, and they had acquired them. And we realized that this is not the right frame for the opportunity. It's new technology. It is technology that is going to perhaps revolutionize manufacturing. It is technology that is going to create multiple and a million possibilities. So if that is the opportunity, do words like efficiency and price and servant leadership and accuracy, those are not the vocabulary to use for an opportunity like this. What is the right vocabulary? The right vocabulary to use is unhindered design capability, manufacturing 2.0, innovation, discovery, possibility, imagination, creativity, right? And what we did was we changed the narrative. We we made them look at themselves and realize that we are not a tech vendor, but you guys are actually a platform for design and manufacturing innovation. Sorry, there's
Can
a lot
I,
of noise.
can I request Ankana to yeah,
Right.
it's muted now.
Right. So, how, if you get into, how do you when you reframe the new narrative, right? When you reframe the narrative from, you're not a batch processing backend 3D printing sweatshop, but you actually, they started looking at themselves as a platform for ideation, a platform for design, and a platform for manufacturing innovation. And that reframing led to them being called, renamed. So they were named Ashay Industry 3D Printing Press. To their new name was Imaginarium. And this is the world we created for them. We created a body language for them, which spoke of a cool, modern world, comfortable and globally appealing to on the world stage, right? You look at the body language of a brand, does on the right hand side visual, when you look at some of their, how the brand is brought alive in their space, you look at it, would you ever realize that this is a brand that, uh, a year back was trapped in a cycle of being looked as just a back end vendor, right? When you look at this, you realize this is a brand that believes in itself, that believes in its vision, and this is a brand that is going to go out and make itself present across the world stage. And over the last 7 years, Imaginarium has grown to be Asia's largest 3D printing company. They are the premier. They have diversified as well. They have gotten into medical 3D printing vectors. They have gotten into engineering verticals where they are working with the best companies in India. Raymond tied up with them to power back at the back end. Imaginarium is powering the entire uh, custom creation in Raymond made to measure shops across all Raymond outlets in India. This future for Imaginarium was possible only because they shifted the frame from looking at themselves as a batch processing 3D printing vendor to a platform for innovation and manufacturing. And they've been to the now they're recruiting, and it led to leadership and people wanting to join them. Designers wanted to work with them, so we created a space in their office which is called the Metamorphosis Cafe, where freelance designers wanted to just come and hang out in this really cool looking office in Andheri Seeps in Mumbai. And because it was a very creative workspace to work out of, and that led to collaborations with designers. They have done multiple collaborations with very well-known fashion and jewelry designers. They're working with the biggest engineering firms. They work with hospitals a lot. Imaginarium was in the news when the COVID crisis hit because they helped the government of India in producing low cost, large scale PPE equipment and ventilator parts to help supply chain go up for some of these essential medical items, right? That is what change in body language does. That is what, when you reframe the opportunity, it does to you. So that was about reframing. That was about how do you create the right frame for your idea. So idea is the first thing that I want to talk to you about before we get to marketing. And when we think of idea, two things are important: framing your idea right, and the next thing that is important is to create belief in your idea. Everybody starts off, and all of you have started off uh, with a story. Yeah? There has been some experience, there has been some brainwave, there has been a moment of inspiration where that has led you to this point where you said, I will do this now. This is my idea. This is what I will convert into a brand or a business and a product or a service, and I will take it out to the world, right? How do you create belief of others in your idea? One is by framing it right, by telling them what it is that it does for them. Second is, how do you make them see your story as their story? This is not about telling people your personal story about why this happened, but using it to let people see the relevance of that idea in their life, right? And I'll give you an example, and this is really amazing. And I came across this one late night. I was trying to make coffee. I was swiping up and down on Instagram, and I came across this brand. So I'm going to talk to you about this brand. And what it does is it articulates that idea very well. Because unless you articulate your idea, unless you are able to tell people about what your idea is very well, it doesn't exist. It exists in your mind. It exists in some PowerPoint presentations. The idea session will fail if I have not been able to articulate what I'm thinking well, right? Because then it's an idea in my mind, the thoughts that I want to share with you. But if now I've done a good job of it, it won't transmit, right? So an idea doesn't exist unless you articulate it well. And if you're able to tell it to someone in a way that he will tell it to 10 other people, like we do with a lot of interesting things we come across, right? You find a good source on the internet for information, you will tell it to 10 people. You find a good newsletter, you subscribe it to, and you tell it to other people. There's this great news content platform called the Ken, which I've recently subscribed to. They do a very, very interesting news which is relevant to all of us, non-politicals, business, technology, culture, and people news and stories. They don't get too much into politics because enough of that is being covered, which I believe is very, very, is absolutely objective, very sharp, very detailed analysis of issues that are really important for us as Indians. Us as Indians, as people, the culture we are in, the times we are in, and the kind of work and businesses that we are running. And since I have discovered Ken, I have given 10 people a heads up about it and told them that why don't you try it out? And 4 of them have tried it. It happened only because they were able to convince me that what they are doing is great. There is a story to why they're doing it. And I have told it to 10 other people, right? So your job as a founder, you have one and the most important job that you have before everything else, before operations of your plan and your marketing and everything. Your most important job is to put your idea out in a compelling manner. We've already spoken about how to articulate it well, which is an exercise of framing it right, asking the right questions. What is it I'm doing? What does my product really do? Even if I'm doing something which 20 other people are doing, there is a way for you to define it in a way which says that I am enabling something for the world which these 20 brands are not enabling. And if you can't find that answer, then you must search till you find this answer, because finding that answer will be the reason for your success. And you must evolve your product, and you must sharpen your brand, and you must sharpen your business idea till you are able to tell people convincingly that this is what I do, which will enable something in your life, and then push it out, right? But putting that idea out is the most important job once you have kind of framed it well. And this is a brand, I was talking to you about. This is a brand from Bangalore called VS Money and Company. They make and ship signature instant coffee from a location in Bangalore, right? And I came across this brand, and this is what I saw on their Instagram feed. So where they are talking about meet V Subramanyam, VS for the rest, Tata for us. So the person who has found this brand called GD Prasad, his grandfather, he's talking about his grandfather. And he said, my grandfather had a ritual. Every morning, he would pour himself a cup of coffee from his flask and sit and read the newspaper. And there are more to this story. If you go on Instagram, you can see I've just taken the important bits of this story. They have really created this in a much more expanded manner on Instagram, where he is talking about how his grandfather used to make coffee, pour it in a flask, and read his newspaper. That was his ritual. And then again in the afternoon, he would do the same thing. And that signature coffee, what they are doing now is making it exactly the way their grandfather would have approved. Right now, when I read this, I'm a coffee drinker. I love drinking tea and coffee through the day, right? So when I came across this, what made me want to buy it was the way this story was told. And it wasn't because it was a story about his grandfather, but what really got me hooked was they were talking about a ritual. And I have that ritual, right? When I wake up and I'm ready to sit down for work, before that I like to take 20 minutes and sit with a cup of coffee doing nothing. I have that ritual, and I will repeat that in the afternoon, maybe after lunch. So that got me hooked, because I was reading his story, but it looked to me that it is my story. And when I saw that, I realized that, hey, this is a great brand, because we must try it. All this made me do was, let's try it. Because when I try it and the product delivers to the expectations, this halo that they have been able to create around the brand before my even first taste, literally, of the brand, will help me in a big manner to continue with the brand. Maybe it won't. Maybe the product won't live up to it. Fair. I'm not saying that just this alone will solve the problem. but it gets me to the very important stage of wanting to try this brand. So I saw this, and today it is very dangerous, as you all know, to follow or like something on anything on social media, because 20 other people will follow you the moment you like a brand, like any brand, right? So if you like a cosmetics brand, 20 other cosmetics brand on Instagram, on Facebook will send you a request to follow them. So you have to be careful about what you like. But it made me like their page. When I liked their page, they sent me this as a message that, hey, so glad you're here. I am GD Prasad, and very clear narration of this same story. This I received as a direct. The one on the right, this is a screenshot from my cell phone Instagram app. This is a screenshot that says, hey, I'm GD Prasad, and I'm talking to, I'm thank you for being here. And he's repeating the story. And over the years, we've discovered not just our love for great coffee, but all things related to it: the snacks, the rituals, the pause, the reading of the newspaper, the small, quirks that go along with consuming coffee or tea or whatever. It could be anything. It could be every morning or morning after a walk, sipping coconut water, tender coconut water. It could be anything. Just like our grandfather, he said, right? And here's a small code for you to kind of get a little bit of a discount when you are checking out our brand. And I replied to this, and then we had a little bit of a conversation. I said, thank you very much, and I will definitely buy this coffee. What I'll take out from this is, it's not just about telling the right story and your story, which is personal. All of you will have a story like this about your business, right? But it's not enough to tell the story. It is important to tell the story in a manner that will make your user think of it as their story, relate to it as your story, as their own story, right? Your story, you want them to relate to and see a relevance or a space or a need for it in their life. And I can't stress enough the importance of doing this, and it takes nothing to do this, right? As you can see, this, it would have taken no cost. All it takes is mind space and clarity of vision of what it is that needs to be said. It is not $1 million piece of advertising. It has no high production budget. It takes nothing. It can be an Instagram post, it can be a pamphlet, it can be a WhatsApp message, it could be an email blast, it can be a phone conversation, it can be a water cooler conversation on the street. None of this is a slave to media budgets. None of this is a slave to technology. None of this is a slave to any sort of complexities of money or technology or people or resourcing. The only thing it needs is your mind and the clarity in your mind that this is how it needs to be done. And then the passion, the energy, the enthusiasm as the founder to make it happen. GD Prasad, the guy who founded this company, could have been content with just my seeing this and liking the page. But when I liked the page and I followed their page on Instagram, he took the other step of sending me this message. Now, this message, maybe 6 months down the line, he'll have a team of people who are responsible for sending this message out automatically. Even today, this message is templated and it goes to everyone. But I like to imagine that at 16:46 in the afternoon, the founder himself saw what I had done and sent me a message at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And I like to believe that story. And because I like to believe that story, and I like to believe that he made the effort of reaching out to me, I am interested in this brand, and I have tried this brand, and it is, once it reaches, I will obviously get to sample the brand, whether it lives up to its this thing or not. But that passion, that zeal, that energy, that effort, and that thinking and clarity of mind to make the world see your story and relate to it in their lives is so important, and it is so beneficial that it can lead to me today telling you. Maybe some of you will search this brand today on Instagram, maybe some of you will order it. That one act that he has done maybe will lead to 10 more sales. And that is the way to look at your brand. That is the way to look at marketing. That is the way to look at sales and brand growth. There is another example. There is this, energy bar company based out of Aurangabad. This young entrepreneur has started it, and he comes from a very different business family background. Their family is into textiles. He has nothing to do with food or energy bars. But one day he speaks about his story, and he says, "One day I simply watched a documentary. It was called Forks Over Knives." And that documentary left him shocked and gobsmacked at the food choices he was making, and what kind of adverse effects it were having, sugar and not just on him, but he was so deeply moved that he realized that this was his calling. He thought that this is the purpose that he is now, that he has now, right? And then a few months later, he started researching, and there is a whole story. And yourstory.com has covered this gentleman. You can look it up, and I can send references across once this is over, so that you can trace back some of these things I'm talking about, the references and the cases I've been putting up. So this guy, and you can read that story. So when he saw this documentary, realized that there was so much wrong that he was making in terms of food choices, and started researching it. And then he was on a trek in the Grand Valley in the Himalayan mountains, and he was hungry. He was craving something healthy, which was vegan without sugar, but still very tasty. And he found nothing. So the two events together in his life led to him deciding to found this brand called O Greens. They're very, very small fledgling brand. uh, uh, I discovered them through some conversations I was having, and then he and I chatted over some bits, and he told me the story, and I read the article, and I've ordered the product. It is absolutely delicious, great quality product, and promises all that it says it will deliver. So it stays true to the ingredients they are making. And when I received this box, so this is a picture of the box that I had ordered. When I received it, there was this little card there. So congratulations. By purchasing these O bars, you have taken the first step towards manifesting a healthier, happier life for yourself and this planet we call home. Right? Uh, Can you spot something interesting in this note? Can anyone, what do you think about this note? Any ideas? I found it very interesting.
Sir, we call this Earth as Mother Earth. So this person is trying to relate his business to our feelings, our emotions.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
directly, yeah.
Absolutely. That's there. The other thing I found interesting was it didn't say thank you. Usually when you write a note like this, it says, hey, thank you for buying this, right? It says congratulations. That is framing the brand in a very in an unexpected manner. It immediately shifts a little bit of the power in this interaction towards the brand. Right? I would have expected it to say thank you, but it says congratulations. It's congratulating me by saying, you have done something smart. It is not thanking me for choosing them. It is saying, you have passed in our judgment. So congratulations, right? And obviously, then they are talking about their vision. So this comes from knowing the frame. This comes from knowing that how do you position your brand. And I believe you would have had previous sessions where there would have been talks about how to position your brand, how to look at your identity, how to kind of think about the proposition of your brand that it is going to take out into the world. All of this helps to that, right? The way this note is written, the paper it is printed on, the way the fonts are, all of you, I'm sure there have been sessions. I think somebody from Ecole took that session, right? uh, you've kind of been through some of these things, but this is it. You see this in action, right? It doesn't say thank you, it says congratulations. Now, I found this very interesting because not only are they transmitting their philosophy of why they are doing, but they are also creating the stature for themselves in the right sense of the word. This is, and the right way to look at it is this brand is very clear about what it is doing, which is why it can talk to me in this manner. Right, it is not about this brand is being arrogant or cocky or snobbish, and or I am reading too much into it, but it just establishes a dynamic that says we are of a similar mindset and we acknowledge each other. You've acknowledged us by purchasing us, and we are acknowledging you for making that choice. And there is that dynamic instantly is of peers and equals. And in their case, in this case, that dynamic is important to have, right? Because I must have desire for this brand. I must aspire to have this brand in my life. Otherwise, the brand has no money or media money to kind of remain salient in my mind all the time. So the only way it can do it is by creating in my mind a great mental picture of that brand, which then becomes part of my memory. And once something is part of your memory, it is that much more easier to remember that brand or product or person, even though that person may or may not be able to communicate or be present in front of you all the time or enough times, right? So, which is why, and it's an endless journey, right? How do you kind of keep creating those things? And there are, we can spend days on it, but just one point that I kind of wanted to make, right? So let's come to the business end of what we are doing today. uh, what is it marketing actually does? So it's a powerful ways of transmitting your media, right, your idea. And I think marketing exists to help you scale up. It creates a jump in orbits. And Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, as you all know, said, master the topic, the message, and the delivery. So this is an example of somebody who has mastered the topic, has mastered and crafted the message well, and knows the right way to deliver it. And none of this is dependent on technology, money, resources, or any sort of a challenge which can't be overcome. All this takes is knowing what your topic is, what is it that you should be saying, how should you be saying it, and how should you be delivering it in the right spirit, in the right tone of voice even. So congratulations is the right tone of voice, and an interesting tone of voice than saying thank you, right? This is what this quote means. And that is all of this, I think, is 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 under the umbrella of marketing. So marketing is not just media spends, media budgets, media planning, media buying. It is not just about 30-second ads or 15-second ads. It is not just about newspaper ads versus TV ads versus banners versus posts versus content versus reels on Instagram or Instagram posts or carousel posts. It all of those things are a means to an end. The job of marketing is to help you scale up, and if done well, it can lead to phenomenal results. It can lead to phenomenal results. And in the next part of this, I will take you through two very, very interesting case studies in how this can happen. And there is a theme in both these case studies, and this is the theme I wanted to talk about today as well, in terms of how marketing can help you scale up. I think marketing takes you in three stages. First, it kind of starts to help you take your idea from an idea to market, right? Your first sale. It'll probably be with friends and family or in a small group or in a local area. To then something happens where the business or the brand takes off, right? From your friends and family buying to your first few sales to one day a stranger will buy your brand, or a few strangers will buy your brand, right? For the first time, they have no relationship to you. They don't know you. You've not reached to them directly. You've reached to them maybe indirectly in some ways. something has happened for strangers who have no vested interest in or stake in your brand to buy you. That's a tipping point. That's an inflection point. And great marketing helps you get to that point very, very quickly and in a very, very effective manner. And then a third stage happens, which is explosive growth. Crowds are lining up to buy your product, right? So, any brand that has started, Uber, Ola, ClearTax, Airbnb, Google, Nike, Under Armour, any brand, uh, Lululemon, any brand that has built itself as a business has gone through this journey. They've had an idea, they have taken a prototype of that idea to the market, then they have done something uh, across marketing, finance, accounting, across operationalizing it. They have done something right, they have done something interesting, they've done something big to make it happen, right? uh, which is when strangers start talking about your brand and they start buying it and they start telling it to 10 other people, and that leads to a cycle which can be what we call as explosive growth. Now it's a relative, right? Explosive growth in some case may mean 1 million users, in some case it may mean 4 billion users or a 2 billion users, right? WeChat, which is a super app in China, is downloaded on almost 80-90% of every cell phone in China, right? It is Baidu in China is the biggest search engine in all of China, and that means that a billion, close to a billion people are searching on it, right? Uh, Salt, Tata Salt in India, almost 90% of our households buy Tata Salt, right? So there are brands that get to that stage. There are some brands which will have a defined audience. So your exclusive growth is relative. The numbers are relative. It doesn't necessarily mean very, very large numbers, but what it definitely means, it goes from you pushing the brand out to people to a stage where strangers, people you don't know, are buying your brand. They are buying it not because they know you, they are buying it because of something you're doing. And if you keep doing it right, if you keep doing it consistently and you keep doing it smartly, it will soon turn into the floodgates being opened, and 1 million, 1,000, 1 billion people lining up to do this, right? And two cases I want to take you through to kind of give you a sense of how they did this journey from 1 to 2 to 3, how they jumped orbits and how they used marketing to kind of do it. So this is a case study of a brand of peanut butter called Nerdy Nuts. They are a US based company. Husband and wife started this brand because they were one day, this guy used to work in an office, and then there was this store close to him which used to sell local homemade peanut butter, and a shop which had bagels and cookies. And one day that shop closed. So now he was worried about why, how will he get his peanut butter back, that taste. He searched for it, the brands available he didn't really like, so he said, I'll make it at home. So they made a batch of peanut butter at home, husband and wife, and then they forgot about it. They went to eBay for, I think, some $17 or $20. They bought a crushing machine for crushing peanuts to make peanut butter, and then they forgot about it because both of them had jobs. Then a couple of years down the line, they said, "Acha, theek hai, abhi what?" Maybe went back into the garage and said, "Okay, let's do something. Let's make a batch, because now we know how to make peanut butter." So it's like any parallel. It could be any parallel. It could be how to some of us making pickles, some of us making any other food stuff or anything, right? They did the same thing. Husband and wife. They had a kid coming on the way. So they were looking for either a change of location or an opportunity, and they said, "Okay, let's make a batch." And they made a batch and they went to their local farmers market and started selling them. This story is about how they grew from a couple of $1,000 a sale a month to $500,000 sale in a matter of a few months. How this explosive growth happened in a matter of a few months, between summer of 2019 and August 2020. So about 9-10 months, they grew their revenue 20 times. A husband and wife operation, no funding, no seed funding, nothing. They didn't even get to any sort of a demo day. They grew it, and this story is a story which is almost like an every entrepreneur's dream. They created something cool, they found a unique way to market it, and they hacked their way to phenomenal growth. And you will see how this happened, right? So their first sale happened at a farmer's market, and this is, this is a picture from that article which says that this is a working of what their sale price is and what the gross margin is. So at a sale price of $11.99, they were making a gross profit of some $7 and some little change, $7.36 as the gross profit, and a 60% gross margin, because obviously home production, a few batches, 15-20 bottles they would take to the farmers market and kind of 100 bottles and do the sales, right? And that's the kind of thing that they were doing. But then what he realized was, this guy said, I want to create a story, and I want to take this story out into I want to take this story out. So he did something. He created an interesting playbook for to describe why he was doing this, what did it taste like, what was it about. And this guy started cold calling reporters. So the article says, and he quotes that, I spent 40-50 hours of my life just cold calling press reporters, telling them about my story, until one day. And they had created these cool political packaging as a special product. So one flavor for Trump, one flavor for Obama, one flavor for Joe Biden, one flavor for something else. This was back in 2019, and they were starting marketing in. There was some sales to it, and somebody in PR advised them to do this. So he did that, and he started calling newspapers and press and media about it. And after some 200 plus cold calls where he got rejected maybe 199 times, Fox News featured them. And when that happened, within 28 hours of Fox News featuring them, they had $20,000 in sales. Now this is their early part of 2020 was spent at doing farmers market, where they focus group their product, tested it, got feedback, refined it, and they were cruising along at, let's say, above $1,000 every weekend. So about $3,000-4,000, $7,000 every month kind of a sale, to their first takeoff point, which was being featured in Fox News live television. And that caught a fancy of a lot of people, and they got orders started pouring in, and they led to $20,000 in sales in 48 hours time. And so they said, okay, now this is, this was a husband and wife operation. We are not equipped to deal with this, right? So they hired a few help. They got a couple of more machines. They spent some $1,400-1,500 more on equipment, on people and all of that, still running like a mom and pop operation, like a husband and wife operation, 2-people team. And they got a few volunteers and interns to start doing packaging and all. And this picture is from one of their early days of, how they were finding space in their garage to put these boxes in and ship them out. Then they said, okay, let's try and expand this. So they went to Instagram, and they started talking to some influencers on Instagram. And he says that on Instagram, influencers act like celebrities. So it was so difficult to deal with them, because they act like they are celebrities, and they have price term sheets, they have contracts, they have managers, and they expect the world to be given to them for just very briefly talking to their product. So they tried it, and it led to nothing, but they said, let's not give up on the idea. And they said, let's try TikTok. Now TikTok in America at that point was taking off, and the TikTok influencers were for very different experience, because they were happy that somebody was giving them free jars of peanut butter that was so tasty, and they were very, very generous with the way they kind of plugged the brand. And they worked with some 5-6 key TikTok influencers who had some 300,000 400,000 people who were following them. which led them to overnight become viral. What those TikTok influencers did for them for maybe as little payment as $400 a week, so about $1,600 to $2,000 a month kind of marketing expense you can imagine. Uh, it led to, in that month of August 2020, orders coming in for $500,000 worth of sale, right? And this graph that you see shows that. So in April, in the month of April, their sales was $8,000. May was again $7,000, something like that. June is when they got featured in Fox News because they did something known as product drops, which is releasing limited edition products, which were these products packed like political, packaged for political campaigns. So one flavor named after Trump, one after Biden, one after Obama, one after someone else. They did that. That led to them being featured as an interesting story on Fox News, and that led to $26,000 worth of sales in June. And in July, they started doing TikTok. That led from 26, they moved to $165,000. And in the month of August, they moved to 505 $863,000 of sales. And at that point in time, they were completely, it was as much of a moment of happiness for them as it was a moment of pain, because they had no way, to fulfill orders worth $500,000, because they were still making peanut butter jars out of their home, just the two of them, and maybe 12 volunteers who would pack and grind and crush peanuts and make it and pack it and ship it, right? They had no way of doing it. It led to a situation in August, September, where they would open their website up for orders only one day in a month, and in a matter of 2 minutes it got sold out, and then they had to shut down orders on their website because they could only supply so much. And this has led them to a stage where they are now they are in the stage that you are at, after $500,000 of sale and a remarkable product and a runaway success, where they are now in need of money to scale up to meet demand which is already lined up at the door. Why? Because of the way they used effective marketing. And if you read through the case, none of this cost them that much money. Of course, there is a lot of luck, and not every brand with that goes on TikTok will have success. But looking at this, you can't help but be inspired by the how amazing and superb it is when a rightly framed idea meets very effectively done marketing, right? And today, that article goes on to say that they are well on their way to end 2020, which is about a month away, to push past the $1 million sale mark. Imagine a brand launched in 2019, which was making at its peak, it was making $8,000 a month, to now making $1 million a year. Simply started by two people, husband and wife, as a hobby, as a side hustle. It is a remarkable case study of how cleverly they use some of these things, how they realize that it's TikTok, not Instagram. So the right media where to do it. Why an influencer on TikTok in their case was so much more beneficial than an influencer on Instagram. They didn't give up the idea of using influencers. When influencers on Instagram didn't work for them, they went to another channel, they went to another medium. They found a way, they did that grunt work, that hard work of calling up reporters, till someone picked up their story and said, hey, these guys look interesting, let's feature them. And that moment was their takeoff point. That is what marketing helps you do. All of this is advocacy, it's PR, it's great SEO, it's discoverability, and all of this, as a founder, is what you should be thinking of and doing, and not be worrying about plans and budget sheets and operations and all of that. Yes, you should have a sense of What does it take? What will it cost? What will you need to do? What are the kind of assets you will need? All of that. And you've gone through sessions which would have spoken to you about how you need to have films, how you need to have ads, how you need to have great photography, great imagery for your brand, how you need to have the right packaging. Yes, all of that is very important. But to power that, to make that a success, what is most important is what is the kind of thinking and effort you are going to put into making marketing happen for your brand. Any agency, any freelancer, any head of marketing, any employee, any consultant will never know it as intimately as you do. And your job is to help those people, is to help your marketing team, is to help your agency, is to help your PR advisor see your product in the right manner, and then let them do their job. If you're employing it, and if you're doing it on your own, then it is you who has to push your story out in the right manner, right? So this was one case study. This was a case study of a very small brand uh, going big in a very short span of time. I have the other case studies of a different nature. It is a global brand, and I will take you back in time when it was a very very small business. This brand is called Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and Ben and Jerry's ice cream is perhaps the world's most loved ice cream. And it started in 1979, and in, I think, around the year 2000 or somewhere around that, it was selling in 35 countries with 600 outlets in these countries, with close to, I think, about $500 million of sale. But it started with these two guys, Ben and Jerry, who opened a ice cream shop in, I think, Mount Vernon in a state in America in 1979. And when they did, they spent in the Penn State University, they paid up for a course which cost $5. That course was about how to make ice cream, and they both went for that course, and they learned how to make ice cream. And the rest of their journey is simply phenomenal, which includes an invention of an ice cream which is now known across the world, and a very very epic marketing battle, a very big marketing battle with an FMCG joint, with an FMCG firm that was threatening to put them out of business, and what they did to kind of take that away, right? So this is how they started. You see that store, this is where one of the kind of first stores that they had, where they were selling ice cream out of the store in single scoops, and then they realized that that's not the way to scale. So what they did was they realized that let's up our distribution game, and they started marketing it to wholesale as a wholesale ice cream tubs and pint-sized boxes, the way we consume ice cream now. They did it in 1979 uh, uh, to restaurants and supermarket chains in their vicinity. So they would make ice cream in their store, then one of them would put, let's say, 20-30 tubs of that ice cream in a truck that they had, and drive around very fast before it melted to put that in this thing. And a few years later, they invented this ice cream. It's called the chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. They were making cookies in their store, and they were also making ice cream. So one day the baker and the guy who was making the ice cream got together and said, "Hey, why don't you use my dough, the cookie making dough, biscuit making dough, in ice cream as a flavoring?" And they created a flavor which got the two together. So they mixed cookie dough, atta, in their ice cream, and what resulted, of course, many experiments later, this is simplistically told, it led to the creation of this chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, which is perhaps the world's most recognized flavor of ice cream. And it led to Ben and Jerry becoming so popular, unprecedented popularity for this flavor, that it helped them spread across to many outlets within their state and to several other states and half of North America. And at that point in time, they were visiting one of their distributors in the Boston area, and that distributor told them that there is a very well-known brand, Haagen-Dazs, which has been bought by this company called Pillsbury. Now Pillsbury in India is the guys who make the Pillsbury atta, right? They are the company. That company owns Haagen-Dazs as a brand as well globally. So, and this is a very well documented case study. So this distributor told them that, hey, these guys are very big because they are a $4 billion company, and they are now beginning to notice your success. So they are threatening us that we should not distribute their product, and if we do, they will not give us their ice cream, and obviously their ice cream is big business for us. So the distributor told them that I am sorry, but I can't keep your ice cream, and you can't enter this market. Maybe someone else will help you, but I don't know which distributor will take on angering such a big company. Now they consulted their lawyer, and that lawyer told me, yeah, this is a malpractice and can't be done. It's illegal to threaten some another company to impose restrictions in this manner and from a competition to enter. But they are so big that you can't fight this court case. They will tie you up in a court battle for years to come, and you won't win it. You have a legal point, you have the case in your favor, but you will never win it. So these guys were like, what do we do? We are two small guys who don't know. So they did was they decided to take an ad. And that ad was this: the Pillsbury has a mascot. I'm sorry, I should have had a photograph actually of this. Maybe when I will send this across, I will amend it. They took out ads of this what looked like the mascot of the Pillsbury, choking their little tub of ice cream, and said, "What is the doughboy afraid of?" So that mascot was called the Doughboy, Pillsbury Doughboy. And they took out ads and they say, what are they afraid of? And they sent these ads to the competition, to Federal Trade Commission, which is like the Competition Commission of India. They sent it to newspapers. They sent it to their people. They put it up on bus stands. They took out newspaper ads. They put pamphlets in. They distributed pamphlets. They stood in front of Pillsbury office and holding placards. What are you afraid of? Why you are such a big company afraid of such a small company? And they wanted to push that message across, that this big company which owns Haagen-Dazs ice cream is afraid of us, which is we are such a small brand, because obviously people love our ice cream more than their ice cream. And they made such a big, they used it so smartly that very soon they in fact even started putting this as part of the packaging. So every tub of ice cream had this message saying, this ad on it saying, what is the doughboy afraid of? And they had a toll-free number where people could call. And once they called, they would listen to their message of how Pillsbury as a company is trying to push them out of the market by unlawful means and by acting like a bully. And if they contributed a dollar, they would send them a t-shirt which says, what is the doughboy afraid? They did it so well, so consistently, that media started picking up on it. And local media, regional media, and then national media started talking about it. And then Pillsbury was in a very, very embarrassing position, because they could neither deny it. It's like now this is like a David and a Goliath fight, right? If the giant beats the small guy, nobody will give the giants a point. But if the small guy beats the giant, the giant has no face to show. So Pillsbury got such bad PR, such a bad reputation. They were laughed at. People were looking at them that you're such a big company. You are 4,000 times the size and revenue of this small company. Yet you're threatening them like a school bully. And here are these guys who are having fun at your expense. They are laughing at you because they are right. You are afraid of them, and they are telling it to you, and there's nothing you can do about them. They never again faced competition from Pillsbury, and that led to them that distribution being opened, because by now they had gotten national fame. One, they had invented a kick-ass product. Second, their ice cream, anyways, to begin with, was very, very, very tasty, very premium. And unlike the 90% of ice cream being sold in America, this was a full-fat ice cream. So extremely tasty. And those were the days when full-fat ice creams and not slim ice creams were not a health hazard, and people were not worried about drinking something which was full-fat. And they were in a category which was called super premium ice cream. They had become a household name in America. This small company, which had a great product, it invented a great new flavor, and then it ran into a battle with a big giant, and they won that battle. Two things that happened which led them to become $500 million of revenue from a single store in a matter of about 10-15 years, from 1979, 1984 or 79-80 to about 2000 when they were finally acquired by Unilever. And you guys, if you don't know, Ben and Jerry, and you must follow them on Twitter, and they are still very, very politically uh, opinionated, aware. They tweet a lot. They have very interesting stories to tell, and this is perhaps a brand which has world fame. From Indian movie references in even in Indian movies to very, very a big cultural icon of Midwest and suburban America to one of the very well recognized ice cream brands across the world. Happened because they used marketing to take on the might of a company, a challenger brand, an upstart brand, a brand with no money, no revenue, defeated a giant in a marketing battle. A brand that started from their small shop where they perfected the product, created a product, they invented something which didn't exist. The chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, they are the ones who are known for popularizing it. Maybe somebody would have known it, but they call themselves the inventors of the chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. A runaway success product, right? And effectively using marketing, knowing how to use marketing as a weapon, not getting tied down by concerns. Imagine if they would have gotten tied down as a concern and said that we don't have the marketing money to run this as a battle, let's give up. This brand's trajectory could have been very, very different. They would not have maybe entered the Boston area and the east coast of America. They would not have perhaps spread to the Midwest, and then they perhaps would not have gone global. This brand could have been $1 million brand, or maybe it would have died, or maybe it would have been acquired by Haagen-Dazs and then killed. Any sort of a thing could have happened if they had not decided that they will start a marketing battle, and they won it. They won it not on the basis of the money they had, they won it on the smartness of what they were doing. They created a David and a Goliath story out of it. They made it about a small guy versus a big guy. There was no way the big guy would lose in any scenario or win in any scenario. Even if it defeated them even if it outspent them, people would say, hey, you have money, you can outspend them. If they took out ads against them, they said, now you're just responding to these guys. They created a marketing situation where their competition had no move left. It was checkmate. There was no move. It was a lose-lose situation for Pillsbury, and they milked this marketing campaign for every opportunity. So there is a product innovation lesson here. There is a marketing lesson here in the Ben and Jerry story. There is a lesson of knowing what is the right medium and how to use influence to spread. In the previous case that we were talking about, which is the Nerdy Nuts peanut butter brand. These two cases I picked because I thought it was very interesting. And I'm sorry, let me see how we're doing on time. But to my mind, this is real world application of marketing. Marketing is not about 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Yes, planning, budgeting, operationalizing, all of that is there. But the heart of marketing, the heart of growing a brand in a business lies in the perfection of the idea, framing it right, and then telling that story to the entire world in a very, very enthralling manner, right? And known thinkers, people, culturalists who we know, cultural trackers who we know, who says marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make, but about the stories you tell. And that's the one thing that I wanted to impress upon all of you today, that this is the right view to look at marketing. And as you go about your journeys, don't forget this view, because this view, this frame will always keep you on the track of growth. And only when you do this, only when you look at it like this, will real growth happen. So that's it. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. It's been an honor to address you, and I can now stop this. And if there are any thoughts, comments, questions, we can take that up.
So this was definitely a very interesting session, Amit. Thanks a lot for that. And I think you have busted some of the biggest myths for looking at it from a startup point of view. Because what we have noticed is that many startups have this inhibition that since I have not raised funds, I cannot actually go out and do active marketing. But with the examples that you have shared, I think the startups and the participants over here can definitely draw parallels from it and apply it to their businesses in a way which can be really effective.
Absolutely, and very rightly said, Mana, because it is yes, funds and scale will bring you more tools, will bring you maybe newer avenues of taking it out. But marketing your idea right does not need to depend on funding and sales. Yes, it will help in a big manner. It will have its own impact. It will have impact on the speed with which you can do it. But as you can see from every example, none of these examples have cost. It was a $5 ice cream making course. It was a $20, $400 investment in going to a TikTok influencer, which led to $20,000 of sale. It was a simple Instagram post at 3 o'clock that somebody would have written and sent across. It takes personal effort, and it takes the founder's zeal. It takes the founder's belief in that idea, and it takes the founder's energy to make marketing happen. Money only helps it. And I don't think we need to, any of us need to wait for funding or money to start thinking about marketing in a more fundamental manner. And why I wanted to talk to you guys about it today in this manner is because the world has conditioned us to believe that unless A happens, B can't happen. That's not true.
Definitely, Amit. And I think rarely do we sit down and think about our ideas in the way that you have talked, in this session, putting it in a framework where you're actually talking about the idea enabling something in this world and not just the products that one is making. I think that's a really interesting perspective to have. And I think the startups will definitely benefit from this. I would like to open the floor to the startups if they have any questions. We have the next 10 minutes to interact with Amit. So if anyone has any questions, they can put in the chat section below or unmute their mic and ask directly.
Yeah. Please, any thoughts, any questions? Yes, Shaheen, the newsletter is it's called The Ken. It's I can share the. I'm just sharing the URL. It's a paid subscription, but you can subscribe to some of their free newsletters and see if it works for you.
So Amit, I had this one
Hello.
question for you.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead, sir. Chandra Mohan, sir.
Sir,
Please go ahead, sir.
sir, Amit sir, namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. I'm a mushroom entrepreneur.
Right.
I want to bring a food product which is ready to eat from mushroom based food product.
Right.
Which is immune rich food product.
Right.
What is the future and all of the things, sir?
I think and I think you use the right buzzword for it, the right word for it, which is immunity enriching, right? Uh,
Yes, sir.
uh, Today, especially today, after the last 10
Yes,
months
sir.
of what has happened, uh,
Sir.
immunity is something which is on everyone's mind, right? Uh,
Sir.
because we are all thinking of immunity in a framework we've never been forced to look at it like that. It was always an abstract construct, but today it
Sir.
has become a reality.
Sir.
Yes, just the other day in office we were talking about how there were maybe two of our people in office who used to bring dry fruits to eat every day, and everyone else was like, yeah, it's a good
Sir.
idea, but we're not going to do it. Maybe then there are now six people who are
Sir.
doing it, right? Sales of
Sir.
Chavanpraj probably are spiking. Sales of immunity building foods, medicinal aids, supplements is rising. So I think that's an
Sir.
interesting and a promising space. Uh, Now, when you are
Sir.
creating a brand, some which promises immunity, you have to keep in mind that you will be competing with maybe 100 brands in 30 different categories, you know,
Sir.
uh, for
Sir.
that immunity battle, right?
Sir. Sir. Sir.
How do you you must spend time on what is it about your brand that somebody would be interested in knowing.
Sir.
And I am not talking about how it is different. No, I am talking about how it can be distinctive. There is a
Sir.
difference between the two, because you could be offering something which someone else is offering, but the
Sir.
difference in success can be either in the way you are doing it, or why you are doing it, or the way in which you are doing it, right? uh,
Sir.
so as a field, I think it's absolutely promising. Immunity is going to be on our mind space uh, a lot, especially when some of this becomes normal and we start going out in the world, because now the world has seen that what we are going through right now is not a one off. Something
Sir.
like this can be expected every few years and maybe becomes the normal of how we live. So
Sir.
to strengthen one's immunity is definitely going to be very, very important.
Thank you, sir.
But
Thank you very much.
having said that, I think you should think about why your brand. Why does your brand need to exist?
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for asking.
Good afternoon, sir. Rajkumar here.
Good afternoon, Rajkumar. Hello.
Hello, sir. So it was very wonderful session, sir. Thank you. You made me feel your story to my story. So it was really, really great session.
Thank you.
And the way I am saying that it is my story also, because in my product, I am trying to make the potter's life good. I don't know how my product will get success, but my thought process is that the product which I make with the help of potters will definitely help to create for the betterment of the potters community, right? And that is how, though our product has not been success so far, but the way I give the idea to government agencies or someone or some NGO, they appraise me a lot, right?
Right.
So we have some challenges with our company, or we have challenges with the idea I am working.
Right.
I can share the story later in detail.
Yes.
But that led me to won many awards.
Wow.
So
Wow.
even the product has not been sold so many times in the market, and but the way I say that I want to help the potter, I want to provide the quality water services to the people at the rural community, the people get appreciated. And yesterday I was attending one another session in the same way we are attending today, and at the time the speaker said that when you should sell your idea. So everybody answered in different manner, and he answered that you should your idea when it comes in your mind. Why don't you sell at that time only?
Yes,
So I am in that position. I am in that position only,
right.
that the way I say the things, people get appraised because of that, and they appraise me too. So I hope when the product will come in the market and the people will use, it will serve the society and community. And I'm thankful to you that you have told me the way, because I am also in the same situation that I don't have money. I am looking for seed funding and many more things.
Right.
So the branding is not stopping for my product. Branding is going on. That's all.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, Dr. Rajkumar, for sharing that with me and all of us. Because, make all of this a part of your story, the awards, the appreciation, because like you were saying, the product is not even there, right? People are appreciating you with because of the idea. And the speaker who told you this, that you should sell it the moment it comes in your mind, is absolutely right. That is the day it comes in your mind and you are clear, is the day you should start telling everyone about it. And that will create the support for your product to become better, sharper, come into the market, get funding. In a few days time, all of you will be at demo day. You will be pitching about your ideas. I would love it if all of you thought back about today's session, and if that influenced the way in which you are pitching. Not just make it about what you are doing, but what is it doing for the world.
Yes.
What is the bigger opportunity. If you write it down 20 times, you will crack it. That one line of what you do, you know that is powerful enough to make an investor look at you and say, hey, you have the right idea, I will back it.
Yeah. And one of actually the Hindu published my story in 2017, and they gave me the title for my business. I did not make. So they said that G filter, an
Right.
inexpensive indigenous clay ceramic water filter. That's all. So I did not make the title. They made the title for me.
Very
And
interesting.
everybody reading that story and coming back to me that what exactly this filter is and how does it work. So
I mean, there is a curiosity in this name. When I
yeah,
was reading G filter, I wanted to ask
yes.
what is G filter, what does G filter stand for, and it sounds interesting. So there you have a powerful asset there, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So do we have any other questions?
No, sir, no, sir.
Any of the participants? Because we would be concluding this session. I think it's almost 1 o'clock now, and we wouldn't want to keep Amit.
No, I mean, if somebody has a question, we can take 5-10 minutes, but yeah, otherwise,
Um, I think we are pretty much done over here because I mean the chat section doesn't have any more questions.
yes. I think Shaheen, she had asked a question on the Ken. I've sent in the URL. So
Okay.
with that.
So Amit, thanks a lot, and everyone definitely loved this session, and it was very insightful, and especially it is going to change the way we are going to think about marketing from now on. So
Thank you.
thanks a lot for that.
Thank you, Malhar. Thank you, everyone else. Thank you, Chandramouli ji, for hosting this, and thank you, everyone. Chandramohan ji, Dr. Rajkumar, all of you for being so patient and listening to me. I don't know. I just hope I made sense and it can be helpful in small way to you guys.
Yes.
It is,
So best
it is
best of luck.
perfectly very well given lecture. Thank you very much, Amit Sharma, for
Sir,
spending such a lot of time with our startups.
sir, if you
Okay.
could send
And
your LinkedIn ID so that we could connect with you, sir,
yes,
for
yes,
any future help and support.
I'm doing just that. I'm sending my email, and let me also
that's perfect.
put my LinkedIn ID here. Yeah, that's my email, and then
Great,
my
great.
because I have a name which is, I think, about 1 million of us have that name, Amit and Sharma. It will be
Yeah.
difficult to find me on LinkedIn otherwise. You can search with me. This is the URL of my profile, or you can search Amit Sharma and Open Strategy and Design.
Okay, sir. Okay,
And my email is also there. And if you want to reach out, please do. I'd love to connect. And best of luck for Demo Day. And I hope all of you have a great this thing. And happy Diwali. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.
Thank you, and wish you the same.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir.